This podcast is brought to you by Legend, Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, and listeners like you. Become a patron by clicking the Donate Now button at twoheadednerd.com. Hey, we take PayPal donations too. Help keep the show ad-free.
Once, they were two best friends managing a comic book store. But when an innocent blood oath went wrong, the two found themselves trapped in the same body, imprisoned in a strange pyramid made of long boxes, buried deep below their hometown, where they are doomed to discuss comic books until the end of time. They were once Joe and Matt. Now they are known as the Two-Headed Nerd. And this is their podcast.
Broadcasting from the Ziggurat at Omaha and caverns deep below the metro area, it is our pleasure to welcome you to another Back Issue Show, episode 809 of the Two-Headed Nerd Comic Book Podcast. I'm your head number one, the internet's Joe Patrick.
I'm your head number two. My name is Matt Baum, and we are finally getting back to our regular back issue business with another edition of Slack Issues. Folks, did you know Joe Patrick has never read Sam Kieth's The Maxx?
Never ever.
That's right.
I mean, until today.
Did you also know the space shuttle is launching right now as we record this?
Nope, because I'm dedicated to our mission.
Well, here's to hoping nothing goes wrong and we don't sound like assholes. So.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We're going to make a bunch of inappropriate jokes later. Let's hope they land. In this episode, we'll discuss the first appearance and the first three issues of Sam Kieth's most famous output with what has to be the biggest feat ever drawn, The Maxx from Image Comics. Au contraire, Matt, perhaps you've forgotten a little comic called Creed, starring that teeny bopper with the gigantic feet.
We'd have to measure. I don't know. Well, we'd have to measure.
It's true. We'll start with the Maxx's first appearance in the pages of the Darker Image special, and then discuss the first storyline of sorts that ran through the Maxx 1 through 3, all from Image Comics. I'd love to tell you all your Maxx questions will be answered, but we may have even more when it's all over. It's time to travel back to the dark and gritty 90s for one of the biggest hits of Image's second wave. Put on your giant boots, stick out your overbite, because it's back issue time in the Ziggurat.
That's okay. Spoken like a true fanatic. A few women who can't take care of themselves get messed with, and you run to the rescue. Who are you to assume responsibility for their lives?
I am the Maxx. Answer your phone.
This classic story. It's like issues with Joe and Matt. Oh, yeah!
In last week's Gang Hang, I had mentioned that we had lost Sam Kieth recently at the young age of 63, and it seemed like he did not have a lot of output. He has a lot more output than I remembered, and we're going to discuss it in our extra where we go through his whole career. The guy was known as an inker for a long time before he became the artist and writer of The Maxx, which is arguably the biggest thing he ever did. The Maxx was originally published...
Well, the biggest thing he ever did was the first story arc of The Sandman, but yeah.
I think he made more money and probably had more visibility for The Maxx eventually. 35 issues in a cartoon series, yeah.
I think more people have read Sandman, but I will agree that he probably made more money on The Maxx.
When we think of Sam Kieth, we think of The Maxx. We don't think of the first 4 issues of The Sandman.
Faux show, yes, that is for real.
The Maxx was originally published by Image Comics in 1993 through 1996. It ran for 35 issues. His first appearance, which we're going to get into in a minute here, was Darker Image, number 1 in 1993. The Maxx would later spawn a 13-episode MTV animated series that aired in 1995. And it doesn't...
That's all, huh? 13 episodes?
That was it. It was one season. And it doesn't clear anything up. I watched the first 3 episodes and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that doesn't help. Currently, The Maxx is not in print which is
What? That's
ridiculous.
a crime.
Totally
That's criminal.
ridiculous. There's trades out there from Image, from DC Wildstorm, and IDW did the most recent reprints. They made these beautiful recolored hardcovers and reprinted every issue in a series called the Maxx Maximized from 2013 to 2016, where they like rescanned the original art and shit and put in artist sketches. I'm upset that I missed that. I was just like, I've already got those issues. I don't need them. And then I started looking at some of them and I'm like, oh man, those issues are incredible.
You know what though? 35 issues in 3 years. That's a monthly track record. That's better than most big two artists can achieve.
Dude did not mess around. He cranked these out. And this was at a time where I think a lot of other Image creators were kind of famous for being slow.
The opposite. Right.
So let's dive right in to Darker Image #1. We're just going to talk about the Maxx storyline, but we got some other very dark characters like Blood Wolf, who was absolutely not Lobo. No way. Totally not Lobo.
not Wolverine.
Also,
for those of you paying
not
attention.
Wolverine. Right. And then we had Jim Lee's Deathblow, who was arguably the coolest thing I had ever seen at the time. But this story opened with the Maxx sitting on a weird crooked tree in the Outback. Keep in mind, we knew nothing about this character at the time. This is our first exposure to the Maxx. The story centers on the fact that he's stuck between the real world as a homeless man wandering through the city and also this alternate Outback reality. Looks like Australia, but none of the animals there are Australian at all.
But it's most definitely not Australia.
It's not Australia. It's just what he's calling it. This was also the first time that I was really exposed to Sam Kieth's art. I hadn't read his Sandman stuff. Like, I knew this guy had been around. If you read the back of like Image Comics, like Todd McFarlane and Spawn or Jim Lee and Wildcats, they talked about how excited they were for Sam Kieth to come on board. And there's a reason they put this right up front. This art is wild, like unexplainably wild. The first picture we see of the Maxx, he is hunched over with these giant claw hands, weird yellow splattered gloves, a mouth full of teeth. And when I say teeth, I mean just front teeth sticking out of his mask.
Yeah, right.
There is nothing like this. It is so strange, especially next to all the other Image stuff, which is very tight, very superhero driven, very flashy. Sam Kieth is cartooning. This first spread page that did it for me was the Maxx like kneeling in front of this giant troll thing. And I can't like unexplainably huge with a gigantic hammer, because we just saw the Maxx, who looks gigantic and really bulky and bizarre and cartoony. And this thing, if the Maxx is 6 feet tall, this thing is 50 feet tall.
Right. And the giant's name is Rhett Quarkin.
Yeah, and it's like, this is the kind of thing where like later on, this character will pop up again, but we don't see this character for quite a while. Like in the Outback, in the Maxx storyline. And Darker Image, this little preview, like we get a look at Julie in her leopard costume because Sam really wants to draw this girl. He loves drawing the ladies. And that's fine. Like, you can tell he's got a very alternative indie comic sort of influences behind him. We talk about this in our extra a little bit too, but like Vaughn Bodie was one of his biggest influences. That dude liked
big time,
like drawing curvy girls. I'll tell you what, Julie is quite the curvy girl. She looks real good in a bikini.
So something that I read about this Darker Image story is that you can sort of try to figure out where it falls in the chronology of the Mask, but it's going to be real difficult, and it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is more of like a statement piece where it's like, this is the Maxx. This is the tone of the Maxx. This is the weirdness of the Maxx.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all we need to know
It doesn't really matter so much what happens in this issue.
Right. It's a story that barely sets anything up other than this is going to be wild, and also no one is drawing like this guy. So get ready for this art.
We also realize that the Maxx is, whether the Pangea is a hallucination or that's the other way around, the Maxx is seeing one thing half the time. Like he sees Julie stabbing him, the Jungle Queen,
Right.
stabbing him with her little ice pick thing over and over before he falls asleep. And then it transitions to the real world where she's in the same pose in human clothes. And what she's done is sedate him.
I mean, you call this human clothes. I would say 1960s
They are clothes that
insane hippie.
Could conceivably be worn by a human.
Like bell bottoms with paisleys and like a crop top.
Extremely low slung bell bottom jeans,
Yeah.
a torn crop top. Yeah.
He loves him some hippie girls. No question.
So we learn that Julie is a social worker of sorts, and the Maxx is constantly stumbling into her orbit, and she sedates him and lets him crash at her apartment, which is certainly not in any sort of social worker's playbook.
No, not really. No. And like you said, I don't think this is important at all. I think this is probably some pages that he whipped up as a sample for his idea, and he showed it to Jim Lee,
Right.
And Jim Lee was
so
like,
the idea
printing this.
the idea to take from this is that Julie is a caretaker, sort of,
sure.
and the Maxx sees things
Yeah, and that's all
that
you need to know.
that aren't real.
Like, this is going to be a dark and gritty story about mental health, about trauma, about two people that are linked, and they don't understand why they are linked. We're going to sort of find out. I would love to say we'll definitively find out, but it's really kind of a sort of find out. We certainly
not by the end of the third issue.
Well, I would argue, and we'll get there, we get more in this first 3 issues of the story, and then it gets really muddy later.
Oh, all right.
So Darker Image, it was a one-shot, but my God, this last splash page of Sam Kieth's Maxx, like sort of in a Spider-Man pose, complete with like Spider-Man looking webbing. It's his torn up costume coming off of him.
Yeah, right.
There's
So
a lot of
his robes.
McFarlane worship here. No question. He loved McFarlane.
This is definitely a Spidey pose, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's just a fantastic page. I loved this Darker Image book. I even loved Blood Wolf at the time. I was like, fuck yes.
Look, I'm going to tell you what. I'm looking at this this Rob Liefeld art in this Blood Wolf, and it's pretty freaking good.
I mean, we all agreed he used to be good.
I mean, it's kind of good.
Enough of this Rob Liefeld guy.
for Rob. And then of course, Jim Lee is the Death Blow story is a total departure for Jim Lee art wise. It's gorgeous.
Right. Let's get to the Maxx #1, which launched also in March 1993. So this was right after it. Boom, bam.
These came out within weeks of one another. Yeah, in the same month.
It's crazy. So he either had a ton of this done and was just burning through it, or the dude was a machine. It's hard to know.
I mean, I think, as you say, the Darker Image story is sort of like a preview thing.
No, I agree. But like you said, 35 issues in a short amount of time.
In 3 years, yeah.
He was either well ahead of schedule or just cranking this stuff.
I mean, that's monthly. That's the platonic ideal of comic book release schedules.
And this cover,
which is not really something that almost no creator at Image has been able to capture.
God, no, absolutely not. I think Shadowhawk did pretty well.
Kirkman.
Yeah,
Kirkman probably.
I think Shadowhawk did pretty well. Kirkman, also probably did pretty well. This first Maxx.
Yeah, this iconic Maxx #1.
Oh my God.
The cover for
with
sure.
Like blood splatter on the front and the weird purple character with the huge hands and the gigantic knees. Always
I will
bent
tell
over.
you,
Always bent.
took me, I saw this character pictured in things like Comic Shop News and Wizard, and I never actually read it, obviously, but it took years until somebody told me or I read something about him before I could figure out exactly what I was looking at. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that those were supposed to be his teeth.
Or like spikes on his hands or
And I
claws.
still don't know what the spikes on his hands are.
I thought when I first saw it, so I was like, so he's like always flipping people off, or like
Are they
what?
claw? I think are they claws
They-
like attached to his gloves or
They
whatever?
are claws because we see him ripping stuff up later with them. But like there was no character that looked like this.
But he's not like running around going like this, stab, 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 stab.
I
with
thought it
his-
was middle fingers. I didn't know.
with his birds out, right?
Like take yourself back to 1993. Literally,
No, I know.
no one was drawing. As weird as Spider-Man was, and as weird as Spawn got with McFarlane's art, who at that time I would argue probably like the most style out there on the shelf, right?
I mean, it's hard to top McFarlane in its prime as far as like insane like spaghetti webbing and
Right.
capes that go on for miles and,
And-
chains that are 800 feet long.
Even his paneling and points of view and stuff were just insane. Those Spider-Man books, like it was dizzying to look at. And somehow Sam Kieth.
It's how he could get away with having such a bad grasp on human anatomy.
Exactly. I would argue Sam Kieth has an even worse grasp on human anatomy, but it is to his benefit.
I actually disagree with you.
Really?
I think that I think that Sam Kieth breaks the rules in a way that makes me think that the dude knows what he's doing.
That's
Like, he
fair.
knows.
That's fair. And in the extra, we talk about a lot of his early stuff, and you can see this dude absolutely knew what he was doing. No question. He goes to a place with his art where it just gets wild, super wild. So the Maxx #1 from Image Comics, story and art was by Sam Kieth, but dialogue was by Bill Messner-Loebs, who I can only assume is related to William Messner-Loebs some way.
William Messner-Loebs, yeah. So
Same
famous
dude, right?
DC writer, a longtime writer of Wonder Woman and the post-crisis Flash. But yeah, he helped out with the dialogue on this book.
So we had finishes by Jim Sinclair. And in a situation like this, like what does that even mean? Finishes. How do you
I don't
finish
know, because
Sam
I have a
Kieth?
hard time giving Jim Sinclair any sort of credit for stylistic stuff
That's just it.
when we're dealing with Sam Kieth.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what did he do? Because there's no question this is Sam Kieth.
Well, because look, it's story, pencils, and inks by Sam Kieth.
Yeah.
So maybe in this case, finishes just means like touch-ups or help with the backgrounds, that kind of thing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And the backgrounds are crazy detailed. Letters here are by Mike Heisler, and this is hard way letters. Mike Heisler. Back in the day, there was no computer lettering going on.
I mean, we're real early days of any sort of computerized anything.
I suppose, yeah. Colors by Steve Olaf and Ruben Rude with Ollie Optics. And this book, as wacky as the art is, the colors are just insane. Like neon glow in the dark. Turn on your black light.
The colors are definitely, when you see a company's name like Ollie Optics, back in the day they used to call them separations, color separations is the credit you would see in like Marvel and DC. And that's kind of the start of computer rendering of color, where you get like effects and gradients and things.
Sure. Okay, like this first page where it says Maxx and it's like repeated. There's a giant M and there's a Maxx coming off the top of the panel and a Maxx going all the way down, repeated. And there's like a gradient on the M. This is them just showing off, right?
I mean, that's computer coloring, yeah.
Yeah. This is early in those days. Like, look what we can do.
Well, I mean, so Malibu Comics, who was the company that originally published the first wave of Image back in the day, like Marvel bought Malibu Comics almost exclusively to get access to their computer coloring technology.
Because it looked so, nobody had comics that looked this hot.
Because they were doing it. Yeah, they were pioneers. Yeah.
It was crazy how bright these colors. This is like black light, colors that glow in the dark.
Very vibrant. Yeah, very vibrant.
Insane. And another thing about Sam, so we talked about like the detail and stuff in this guy, because I think it's easy to look at the art and be like, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. But guys like McFarlane and Jim Lee looked at this art and they were like, no way. This dude is incredible. knows exactly what he's doing.
He's an artist's artist.
And as spastic as it is, if you look at the panels, like this first panel is so
Look
weird.
at this panel. What is this
I
panel?
have no idea. It's like and literally it's narration boxes, rain, and a cardboard box that the Maxx is living in. You don't even see the Maxx. But the panel is totally bizarre. This weird polygonal.
The panel borders form a shape, but it's not a shape that has a name.
No, it's just strange. But it makes this page that would otherwise just be a full page splash of a cardboard box in the rain. It makes it pop. It makes it look bizarre. It makes it look amazing. And it instantly sets you like, oh, okay, we're in urban area. It's super dark. It's super dirty. It's super gritty. And of course, the story leads right into hot chick that has been brought to the wrong neighborhood by a crooked cabbie who's dropping her off to get raped and murdered. There is a lot of like really dark, rapey, murderous themes here.
Well, I mean, to be fair to these two gentlemen, all it says is that they beat and rob people, sometimes kill. But we do get into some rape stuff.
I mean, they say one woman, they beat her head so hard against the sidewalk they cracked the concrete. Another got away by running 3 blocks on a broken foot.
Broken foot.
Yeah, like
right.
this is, and this.
I mean, they're brutal. They're bad dudes.
They are brutal. And it's wild because we're getting this cartoony story. Very cartoonish looking story. Like one of the main bad guys is like a gorilla. And the dude with him is like this little tiny imp with a giant nose.
He looks he looks like Gollum.
Yeah, like peeking over the gorilla's arm. And when he grabs this
That's a very
woman,
Von Bodie. Yeah.
No question. This woman
It's
is
a very like Cheech wizard looking dude.
she's all curves. And when the dude grabs her, like the point of view, her legs are kicking up, her back is arched. So of course we get this big booby shot, but it's an incredible panel. Just pure violence right here. And instantly, I think, again, this is just Image saying like, yeah, you can't do this at Marvel. You cannot do this at DC.
And again, like as we go, like everything about these panels, the paneling itself is completely weird and unheard of.
It's just bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like even when we're in the real world, before we get to the weird, cartoony, bizarre Outback,
It's surreal. Yeah.
the real world is completely surreal. And there's so much like motion in his panels too, like straight up animation. And I don't think you could say that for Spawn or Wildcats or any of the other like really hot Image books at the time. They were fantastic artists, but Jim Lee draws really good still pictures. Todd McFarlane draws.
Yeah, this looks like it. I mean, there's a reason why the Maxx animated series looks like a scan of a Sam Kieth drawing.
Right.
Like I almost used a picture from the cartoon for the banner for this episode, and I was like, oh no, I can't use that because it's not actually what we're talking about.
Right.
But it's like it looks like Sam Kieth just went to the TV studio and rattled off the drawings as they went.
Yeah, this is like Disney, like old school Disney animation almost, the way that it's just penciled out. And I'm the thought process, what I'm saying, just like looking at the panels, like the guy.
I mean, and it is very storyboardy. Like you see this moment where the little one who's has a name, but I forget, is like approaching this penny that rolls away, and he's approaching the Maxx's box. And this is like a very storyboard, like subtle movement from panel to panel as he moves through the scene.
Yeah.
So that's a very animator kind of way to look at it.
The skinny one is Tigo, and the big one is Fridge.
Sure. Why not? Tigo. Yeah, sure.
Why not? So the Maxx shows up to save this woman that they're about to, I assume, beat to death or rape or both. And
I don't know what the Maxx does to Tigo, but Tigo gets sucked into the box. And then when we see the box again, Tigo is not to be found.
I think he's dead.
I think that the Maxx folded Tigo up like a paper airplane and put him in the corner of the box.
Yeah, and there's even like it's like an off-panel scene where we hear what's happening to him.
Yeah,
and
he's definitely getting tortured.
The lettering is incredible. There's like weird goop dripping off it and blood spraying off it. Like he's getting
right.
killed. Of course, the Maxx comes out of the box. He's even bigger than the fridge. And just he's about to take on this guy. 2 cops show up and they arrest the wrong guy. You stupid cops.
I would say that other than the cover of number 1, this might be the most iconic image of the mask ever drawn.
Of the Maxx. Yeah.
Of the Maxx, yeah.
Yeah, you said the mask.
Oh, sorry, the Maxx. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, like there are other very famous images that we will see in the first 3 issues, but I think that this is probably right up there in like top 5 most famous, most recognizable drawings of the Maxx.
Easily.
So I almost said it again.
I know. You control yourself. So the cops take the Maxx away, of course, because they're idiots, and we get our first look at Mr. Gone, who is our villain of the story. And the cops are like, there's something supernatural hinted at, because the cops are like, hey, wasn't there like a victim back there or a woman? And I don't know how they would miss her, but they do. And Mr. Gone is there and takes her, and terrible things are going to happen to her because
and we learn some things about Mr. Gone and what he can do, and things that he tricks that he pulls with his little servant creatures, and like there's definitely, like you say, some sort of
and I talk about it a lot, like in this. Well, yes,
some sort of flim
there's something going on. It's just not clear what that something is.
No, it's true. It's almost like the police found the Maxx, and then they were like, well, I guess this is it. Let's go.
Yeah. Like, and
then they forgot why they were actually there.
Right. And the Maxx ends up curled up in the back of the police car. And there's another just incredibly bizarre panel with this weird polygon and the word chung, 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 chung in the background.
Yeah. And so that's like, I think they kind of reference it, but I don't remember exactly if they like identify it. But in my mind, it's like the drum beat of Pangea.
It's sort of around.
But it also might be just like the clanging of the subway or something.
I think it's a bit of both. And it sort of like comes up when he is coming and going from Pangea or the Outback or whatever.
Right, because we see that it starts slow as he gets into the back of the cop car. And then when he passes out with a loud whump, then it's constant chung, 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 chung,
right.
chung.
And then he wakes up in the Outback and we have a complete color change. Complete color change. It looks totally different.
Gorgeous.
It's incredible. It's like Julie's eyes are in the sky with her golden blonde hair, and the Maxx is looking up, and all of a sudden he's not a dirty kind of like washed out purple anymore. Now he's like this glowing purple character.
He's wearing some kind of headdress. You might be forgiven for thinking that it is hair, but in the letters columns of this issue or future issues, Sam Kieth is like, it's not hair.
Yeah, it's feathers.
Stop calling it hair.
It's feathers. It's like
it's part of some sort of headdress.
So the Maxx, this is our first look at the Outback. He's very confused and he doesn't know why he's there. He just knows that this Julie person is also there, and he is also her protector here. That's all.
So this, from the Maxx's point of view, this is the first time he's been in the Outback.
I don't think so, because
because he says, great, where the heck am I now?
Yeah, but now he immediately goes into a thing where he's grabbed by these hands that are pulling him down, and he remembers, oh, I have to fight for her, for the leopard queen. Like, he knows all this stuff. It's in his head. For her,
he's
I can be a hero.
Each one is strong as a man, as hungry as death. They'll drag a man down to nothingness. But I have to fight. Oh, yeah. It's starting to come back to me now.
Yeah.
Back to Australia. So he had forgotten briefly.
Well, every time he comes and goes,
it's coming back to him.
He's confused. Like, He wakes up in the real world and he doesn't know that he's narrating out loud and he's not sure where he is.
Right.
He wakes up in the
says,
Outback.
Back to Australia, but not the Australia they teach you about.
Right.
And then I called her the Jungle Queen earlier, but she's called the Leopard Queen.
The Leopard Queen. And then you only look at like what seems to be a real animals here, but it's not clear if it's symbolic
it's a cheetah
or she's
something.
really
Yeah,
with a leopard. I don't know because all the other animals are bizarre. This is also where we meet the Izzes, and that's ISZ, and they are Mr. Gone's henchmen. Here in the Outback, they're white, but in the real world, they are black.
Also, in the real world, they hunger for flesh.
Well, we'll get there. So now we flash back to Julie in the real world, and she's talking to one of her clients. She is dressed like a crazy person. I would say somewhere between professional wrestler and hippie from outer space.
So these are not pants.
No.
I'm here to tell you, Julie.
No.
What you've put on are bell-bottom chaps
Yes.
over your underpants.
Yes.
So that's what's going
With
on.
a pink Daisy Duke kind of crop top. I mean, she's cute as hell. He draws.
Yeah, I mean, she's very southern hippie looking. Yeah, right. Barefoot in the park kind of.
And she's barefoot in the office. We get our first look at Julie's toes. And more to come,
real quick,
guys.
something that it took me 3 issues to notice is that when things get real weird with the paneling, Sam Kieth will draw these little like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club looking dudes with hands that point to the panels you're supposed to be reading.
Yeah, sometimes.
I think it's great.
Yeah, he gently guides you with this shit. It's really wild.
Yeah, they're just like old-timey lighthouse dudes or something. I don't know.
And like even these scenes in Julie's office, like again, the color changes back to sort of the real world color, which is still
It's harsher, dark, yeah.
crazy vibrant, but yeah, it's super dark. And these backgrounds, like when we first see Julie standing on the spread, she's taking up the whole page. There's this weird red glowing background behind her that is just stunning. Absolutely amazing.
It's like an orange gradient.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the colors in our logo.
Yeah, a little bit.
That kind of orangey and yellow gradient.
So after Julie escorts this weirdo.
Real quick. The client says something about how he's never seen a social worker dressed like her, sort of like a hooker. And she's like, yeah, thanks a lot for sharing that. But so we get this hint. Something about the politics of the Maxx and specifically the sexual politics of the Maxx is that I couldn't quite pin down what Sam Kieth was trying to say.
And we'll get to that. We're going to get to that because something happens in issue 3 that I'll bring to your attention that I think will make you go, okay, I feel better about this.
I like there's enough like this is certainly written from some sort of like leftist or liberal point of view, but also the women are drawn in a very sexual manner.
No, for sure. Keith loves to
but
pose
it's
her.
also the women are talking about like how it's like Julie specifically is like, this is how I like to dress.
She's very
her agency,
sex positive, definitely, no question.
Right, and there's a lot of talk of feminism.
She likes her body and stuff,
yeah.
but she's
as
also,
you say, we're gonna get to it.
Keith loves to pose her, no question.
Oh, sure.
She's constantly bending over and sticking her butt out and stuff, but she owns it. She completely owns it. Now she's also getting phone calls from someone that's saying all these like horrible things about killing and raping women, and she's just sort of like, yeah, whatever, pervert. Foreshadowing there. So pay attention.
This is clearly Mr. Gone.
Yeah, but
because the lettering is the same.
Right.
That's a clue for you people paying attention.
So she also gets a call here from the cops, and they're like, hey, we got your guy again. Come bail him out. She's got to go get the Maxx out of jail. And again, like this scene of her going to pick him up and like staring through the bars, the shadows pointing toward the Maxx. He's always bent over. Like he never stands up straight, ever. He's always just bent into a ball of a man. And the light just looks incredible in these panels.
That's what one of the people that writes a letter later on is like, does the Maxx ever stand up straight?
I do not think so. No.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, and I made a note that like there is a lot of hinting at like serious rape theories. Definitely. Men punishing women. That is the major theme of our bad
Well,
guy.
Mr. Gone hates women, yes, and wants to
No
make
question.
women suffer. Yeah.
We meet another character named Tommy and his girlfriend. They're doing laundry, I guess, in a laundromat. And Tommy's grabbing Gloria's butt. And again, Gloria is dressed very slutty, very Daisy Duke. But she's like, I've got a knife that my dad gave me to defend myself. So, like, there is this powerful feminist sort of message here. And the guys kind of can't resist themselves. Tommy is just a doofus. And she's like, get out of here. Go get us
But I mean,
Cokes."
I like this moment I liked where, you know, this woman who is dressed in some kind of way is saying, you know, just because we're here together doesn't mean you've got touching privileges.
Sure.
Like,
And she's like,
and
get
I
out.
was like, oh, all right, good.
Go get us Cokes. She kicks him out. And then we get this scene where Mr. Gone shows up. And it's sort of this impossible looking scene. Like there's the first scene is Gloria from the background just seeing this black cape in front of her. But then there's like an overhead scene where we see the cape expanding to cover like the entire laundromat. And the door that Mr. Gone came through is not a door. It is like a weird portal.
It is, though, because if you look a couple of panels earlier, that's the same door that Tommy goes out of.
He goes out that weird shaped area? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a keyhole, kind of.
God, it's so strange. It's like a Jim Woodring type building.
At first, I thought it was like, oh, like reality is shifting around them, and it is to an extent. But that door is actually in the edifice.
I guess that's just Sam Kieth working. So we get we get a look at the Izzes on Earth where they're black and they're just like these ink blot characters with mouths full of sharp teeth. Our poor girl Gloria tries to fight, but it doesn't work well. And we get our first look at Mr. Gone actually talking, and his word balloons are wild. Absolutely.
Well, no,
wild.
we saw him talking with the woman in the alley.
Oh no, that's true. That's true.
Which is how you know that when he calls Julie that it's the him, because it's his dialogue.
True.
His lettering style.
They do this thing with like it's outlined in blue and the letters are all strange and like underlined, and eyes become
some of them are uppercase and some of them are lowercase.
Eyes are exclamation points and stuff. It's really weird. And he takes Gloria and rapes the hell out of her. Not on panel, but rapes.
No, yeah. I mean, it is definitely heavily implied that he rapes her. They don't use that word.
They do in the next issue. They absolutely.
He said, right. But here it says, I hurt Tommy. He did things to me. Her clothes are tattered, or her tattered remains of her clothes and her broken knife are driven into the wall. Like he raped her.
But again, it's like it looks like something supernatural is going on to us, the reader. And
well, yeah, I mean, the dude had an impossibly long cape that moved off of its own accord, and then a bunch of black demons spewed out from underneath.
Yeah, and we see her, Gloria, looking at the and she's got a knife, like, I'm going to stab this thing or whatever that's coming at me. So other people can kind of see this, but I think maybe it's only when they're terrified. Because shortly here, we're going to find out some rules.
I think that we are given some rules about how the Izzes are viewed in the world. And I think it has more to do with the fact that they aren't wearing anything. But more on that soon,
Maybe. I don't know. That could be. That definitely could be. The Maxx hears that another woman was brutally raped, and he's like, I got to get back out there and do my thing. He fancies himself a superhero, right? We see an Izz call Julie and give her this information because they're trying to like get Maxx out of the building, basically. So this was part of the plan. Get Maxx away from her because something's going to happen to Julie in a minute here. Maxx goes out looking for the rapist. He's chasing the Izz that made the phone call. And like Joe said, there's something going on here because the Izz runs by people in a trench coat and they just don't even notice it. It's like to them, they're not seeing this.
Pay no mind.
Right. The Maxx is definitely seeing it. He gets locked into a dumpster, and when this happens, Mr. Gone shows up and calls him Brer Lappin, which is sort of this Brother Rabbit, Brer Rabbit Song of the South thing.
So something that I think we'll probably touch on a little bit in the extra. But from things that I've heard, I think that the Maxx might be sort of rabbit-esque.
Yeah, there's something going on there. And he does have gigantic rabbit feet.
We don't get into it in these first issues other than what Mr. Gon calls him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that I have heard in the past that there's definitely like a rabbit or hare sort of vibe to the Maxx as a being.
And he's got like buck rabbit teeth and he's always hunched over like a rabbit and like it's all there. I just don't know what's going on.
Right.
So when the Maxx discovers Mr. Gon, they're at a gas station. All the Izzes are there. We're about to get into it. End of episode 1. This first issue just kind of sets up this very grim and gritty urban world that any 90s comic nerd is going to remember, because at that time they were just basically images like, can't do that in your granddad's DC Comics, can ya?
Yeah.
You know?
We also get this kind of, we get this hint that Mr. Gon knows the Maxx, but the Maxx cannot remember Mr. Gon.
Right. The only thing we really know is these 3 characters are connected.
Intertwined, yeah.
They all have access to this Outback. We don't know why.
Which is a real place.
Right. Well, it's a place they go to.
I mean, it's a dimension, like whatever you want to call it, whatever semantics you want to use. Like it's a realm.
Yeah. And Mr. Gon is definitely, there's something supernatural going on with this character.
This first picture of Mr. Gon's face, this close up of Mr. Gon's face, this is like burned into my brain as something I've seen in like Wizard and stuff where they're advertising the Maxx. It's like, check out the villain.
Oh yeah.
Like this is the big reveal.
Issue 2, another incredible cover, the Maxx in the Outback. It's like this bright white background, hot Julie on the cover, a rad looking leopard below them. And it's just like, I don't know how any kid could have
Very famous cover. Very beautiful.
How could any kid resist this? Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Your only change in talent is Kevin Cunningham joins Mike Heisler for lettering in this one. Otherwise, gang's all still here. Jim Sinclair is still doing the finishes. Whatever he's doing there. Page 1 of this book is just completely insane. It's a prologue that's setting up what's going on, and the word prologue is like typeset off to the left for this just insane panel. That
briefly, here is a bit of housekeeping that Keith deals with in the letters page rather than like make any like actual effort to fix it. In the credits of the Maxx #1, Ruben Rude's name was left on and Kevin Cunningham's name was left off.
Oh.
And so they had the credits wrong in issue 1, but it has been fixed for issue 2.
Okay, so there you go. He was there. We just didn't know.
So Kevin Cunningham did help with the lettering of issue 1 as well.
I assume he still got paid. So
I would hope.
They just forgot to say his name. The book opens with just like an incredible first page that is literally just Julie barefoot, of course, on a scale because we got to see her toes because there's something going on there. And she's she's weighing herself before she's about to go to the fridge to get something to eat. The word prologue is like typeset off to the left, and it looks like it's right out of Sandman. It's super creepy.
I believe it is. No, because we don't see the building. At first, I thought it was supposed to invoke like old school lettering that goes down like old buildings, you know, where it's like those. But you don't see the building. I think this is just
it's just crazy prologue art that he put over in the background.
Yeah.
Julie opens the fridge. There's an Iz in there, and it jumps out and grabs her. She's been kidnapped. Huh. Meanwhile,
there's a great sound effect.
Our boy
Snatch.
Yeah. Our boy Tommy is back, but he's thinking about what happened. He's walking around like nothing ever happens in my life. Nothing ever gets shaken up. It's like, Tommy, bro, your girlfriend just got brutally raped and almost murdered. That's not a shakeup for your life.
Also, why did you come back to the gas station?
Right. And also, Tommy's head is shaved now.
Oh, no, wait. That was at a laundromat. Now they're at a gas station.
Now they're at a gas station where the Maxx is getting ready to fight Mr. Gone.
Yeah, they're on the pergolas or whatever.
Tommy's definitely dressed kind of like skinhead coated, and I don't get it. He shaved his head.
He also looks different.
He looks totally different.
In issue 1, he had hair.
He had a full head of hair, and he was just sort of like a jockey doofus. Here, it's totally different, and he's looking around, and he's seeing Mr. Gone's cape coming down from like the pergola above the gas pumps, right?
Yeah, right.
So we know he can see something, and he's saying, well, that's weird, right? Maybe it's some kind of automatic sunshade. So
check out them gas prices, am I right?
Hey-oh.
buck 19 a gallon.
And the Maxx comes flying down in the middle of this fight with Mr. Gone, and it's an incredible spread page. The Max's feet are up in the air.
Oh, this is a fun panel. He sees a station wagon full of identical women.
Yeah, weird looking.
And that
old
is
ladies.
important.
Yeah, they're a bunch of weird little old ladies.
We're going to get to that in a couple of pages, I think.
So the Maxx is fighting Mr. Gone here in the gas station. He's narrating all this stuff. Oh, sorry.
Tommy's narrating.
Tommy's narrating. Gone keeps calling Maxx this Brer Lappin thing, which is the rabbit thing that we were talking about. And there's all this weird shit that also happens in the background. Like while this incredible fight is going on and the art is intense.
This splash page where they crash down from
It's
the
amazing.
canopy is incredible.
And the next page, which is just like Mr. Gone, who is very skinny. He's gaunt.
But they are in like a death grip.
He's way smaller than the Maxx. He's tall, but he's like a beanpole, and the Maxx is rippling muscle.
You would not think that he could withstand a physical battle. With Maxx.
And that's another thing. Like they're letting us know these two are very evenly matched, right? And in the middle of this battle, Mr. Gone reaches and grabs a woman that's in the back of a car and puts a gun to her head, and the Maxx is just like murder, and like I don't care, and kills her. But
Mr. Gone also identifies himself as a student of the mystic arts.
Right. He's definitely
but also he says, unfortunately, I was an untalented student. Or he wouldn't have a gun, is what he says.
It turns out the woman in this car was in Tommy's car, and she's a CPR dummy. So, Maxx not killing the innocent, but the Maxx also did not know.
The Maxx definitely knew that, right?
He did not know.
Answer unclear.
And so these Izzes start attacking the Maxx after Mr. Gone shoots him, and that's where we learn the secret, because Tommy is looking at this and he sees a bunch of little old ladies attacking this homeless giant of a man. But the only reason they look like little old ladies is because they're dressed that way. And normal people don't see the Izzes as they are, which is like the weird little globby ink things. He just sees a bunch of old ladies, I guess. So again,
there's a glamour on them that makes them appear as whatever they're dressed as.
Right. So magic.
Which is why we saw a car full of identical women.
This is the mystic
But
art
something
stuff.
I think to note also is that when the Maxx kills the CPR dummy, Mr. Gone freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, he does.
He freaks out, like he loses it.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell? You killed my hostage? Like you killed my hostage?
There's this awesome thing with the lettering in that second panel there where all of his words are running together.
Yeah.
In such a way that one word will start on a line and then carry it down to the next line. And unless you're like really looking at it slowly, you can't read it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This scene where he shoots Maxx in the leg is intense.
Awesome.
It's intense. There's just so much like lines coming off of it. The word blam, it's all stylized and arced and like, it looks horrible. Which is why
then the Maxx starts to fight the old ladies.
Which is why he has to run away, because he's outnumbered and the Izzes are biting him. He jumps into a dumpster. And
we see this. We see the Izzes snapping at him at first, but then we see it from Tommy's perspective.
Yeah, and
it's just the old lady with her teeth clamped
biting
on the
him.
Maxx.
And Tommy's all, well, it's nice to meet you. I gotta go.
Yeah, time to go.
The Maxx runs away, jumps in a dumpster. One of the Izzes is in there with him, and another one bites the top of the dumpster and locks it. Mr. Gone holds him up,
like a vice grip,
clamps him down, leaves, and he does all this because he is gonna go kidnap Julie now. One of his other is grabbing her.
He also puts a box over the so that the locals don't see a grandma biting a dumpster
Good, yeah.
closed.
Good observation.
Which-
yes.
Which is like a clear indicator that like this is actually happening.
Right, and-
People see something.
And his magic is limited. Like when we say you see them as they are dressed, you would literally see a little old lady biting a dumpster shut.
Right. Even after he's gone.
Right. So we flash to the Outback, and the Maxx is there looking for his queen, but she's all jacked up. She's not like hot and sexy anymore. Julie is drawn in like blues and grays, and her eyes are all red, and her hair's matted. Yeah, her word bubbles are crazy, and she's holding this doll. And she's like, this bad doll keeps telling me things I don't want to hear. But she's not like scared. She's threatening to kill the doll. Like, if it doesn't shut up, I'm going to brush all its hair out, right?
Yeah. So Julie is dealing with something in a very unhealthy way.
Right. And we flash back to another just completely bizarre, I guess, urban scene of Mr. Gon's neighborhood where he lives. And there's like these strange windows and like a giant dog sign above a warehouse or something.
They call it the decaying Art Deco side of town.
Yeah, it is just, I think it's very Jim Woodring inspired. Like the way he draws these dreamy kind of weird buildings and shit.
He is living in an abandoned,
it's like above a warehouse or something.
Jar rubber factory.
Okay.
You know how some jars have that rubber ring
Oh, okay. That's what's
for like
going on.
canning? I think that's what he's saying is that because they call it the jar rubber factory.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But this panel, again, there's these weird polygons that are interrupting the outside of the building, showing it's like giving you a view of what's going on inside the building. He's taking Mr. Gon's taking a bath, getting himself all prepped up. Life is good. He's feeling great. And he's kind of narrating some stuff. Yeah, the Bulldog Jar Rubber Factory where he lives. Upstairs still smells of decaying rubber and stuff like that. But he's talking to someone, and we don't really see who it is until he walks in the other room, turns on the light, and our girl Julie is there tied up in a very S&M pose in a pink sort of lingerie bunny outfit.
Like a Playboy bunny costume, sort of.
Yeah. And she is not scared. She is not scared at all. She's like calling him out. Let me guess. I'm supposed to be dressed as every cheerleader from Queen and circus acrobat who ever turned you down for a date. And I'm supposed to beg and whimper. You finally achieve some sort of tawdry sexual revenge. She's like, go for it. I am not scared of you, pal. And he does not like this.
So here's where things sort of get a little confusing to me, because in the past issues where we've seen the Maxx slip into the Outback, it appears that the things that he's encountering, he's actually encountering them in the real world as well, but obviously in a real way, like when the Leopard Queen is stabbing him, but it's Julie sedating him. But in this issue, we see the Maxx encounter the Jungle Queen sequestered in a corner, obviously dealing with this trauma response.
It's a different
but the
version
Maxx
of
is
her.
not where Julie is.
It's not her. This isn't Julie.
Oh,
This is a different Julie that Julie is protecting. That's why she looks totally different.
I thought it was just because she was all, messed up from trauma.
Well, yes, we'll find out more about that in the next issue.
What the heck? Did I completely misread that?
No, this is not something you would know in the first 3 issues.
Okay. All right. Carry on.
But you're right. He's not there with her. He's discovered this other version of her that is colored differently, that is acting differently, and
That is
speaking
locked
differently.
away.
This is not the proud, strong leopard queen.
It's a version that is being hidden away.
This is a version in the shadows that is obviously messed up. So there's definitely something going on.
But it is Julie.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an aspect of Julie.
The following panels are extremely sexual. I mean, there's nothing like nudity or rapey going on, but there's a lot of diagnosis of Mr. Gone where Julie is working on him, basically saying like, look, I get it. You hate women. You got power fantasies. Like, I'm the wrong woman to mess with. It's that simple. You don't want me, pal. And
to Keith's credit, like, he points out, like, Julie is a character, as you know, as we kind of joked at the beginning, like, she's a curvy gal. She's got a fat stomach. She's got stretch marks. As she's got bad breath from eating the wrong foods. She hasn't shaved her pits in a little while. Like, she's not this perfect ideal of a woman that Mr. Gone is trying to carry out his revenge fantasies against.
Well, she's also playing it as, look, I get it. You go after what you think are slutty girls that are asking for it and stuff like that.
But you don't want me because I'm not.
But she's also like, so this is my fault. You broke into my locked house and kidnapped me. This has nothing to do with the clothes I wear. This has to do with the fact that you're twisted as a corkscrew and looking to find someone, women, feminism, Pangea, me to blame it on. And she's right.
Yes.
It's like you're projecting. You're a scared little boy that's mad about something just like every other serial killer or serial rapist that's projecting their own trauma onto someone else and trying to like fix it, basically.
Right. And so, this is where you kind of get a sense of like, so Sam Kieth, I mean, I know you can make an argument. You can make an argument about how like he doesn't really have appropriate context to be writing about this subject, but he is writing about a woman who is being targeted for the way she looks, and that really it's not her. She's not to blame. It is this stunted, broken, child of a man,
right,
who's got such a twisted view of gender politics and relationship with women that he takes it out in violent ways. Like, this is like very like a very feminist kind of stance from Kieth.
Right. And like in this scene, Julie escapes. She finds one of the teeth of the and cuts herself free. And she goes at Mr. Gone and he's straight up saying, come on, Julie, you know what's going on here. This world that we're in, this is not real. Like this world, real.
This is what broke my bean a little bit, because he says that New York is fake.
You're right. You were never able to accept the other plane, Julie, never able to revel in it like I am. Instead, you hide in this fantasy. Right?
Right. Right. And then we see her flashing to the version of herself with the doll.
She's got one of the tooth like to his throat and she's going to kill him. And then we see, he says to her, this is all in your head. And it flashes back to the Outback where she has cut the head off the doll. But this character is sad. This character is not feeling badass or tough. This character has very sad eyes and looks very damaged.
Also, there's this implication, right, that she's got this tattered doll with this awful hair and she's gonna brush and brush and brush and brush until the doll looks acceptable, or until she like brushes its head right off.
Right.
And that's metaphorically what she does to Mr. Gone.
Well, I don't know if
or
it's
so
that,
she thinks,
or she is punishing another version of her weak self.
Yeah, maybe,
for being a victim. For being like,
maybe
I don't like what this doll is saying, so I'm going to brush its hair out. She's not saying I'm going to cut its head off or stop it from hurting me. She's like torturing something smaller than her, basically. So I think.
Yeah, I mean, she's right. She's.
I'm interpreting this as this is the broken part of her.
She's taking something out on herself.
Yes, exactly. So the Maxx busts out of the dumpster in the end. And he's like, I gotta go find my girl. Next month, jungle flowers grow in blood. So as of issue 2, we have established this story is firmly rooted in some kind of supernatural. We've seen Julie get kidnapped by an Iz that she can see. Julie, Gon, and Maxx are the only ones that can just normally see the Iz. Unless you're terrified or they're in costume, right? That the costumes do not apply to Julie or the Maxx.
Yeah, I don't think the Maxx is phased by outfits.
Yeah, the magic doesn't seem to work on them. Gon has confirmed they're all aware of the Outback. There's something going on there.
It is a realm that they visit.
Right. It is more real than the reader may think it is.
Whether it's a dream world or what, maybe Keith gets into that by the end of the series, but it's not important.
But
right
Julie is obviously repressing something.
big time trauma.
Yeah, we don't really know what it is until we get to issue 3. Issue 3, as of issue 4, and it's not credited here, and we're not going to talk about issue 4 because this is kind of a good place to end this first storyline. But in issue 4, we see that Heidi McDonald comes on as the feminist consultant. And Sam Kieth had been talking with her. So like when we're saying, I don't know if he has the agency to write this kind of rape trauma story or something, he had been consulting with Heidi McDonald.
Sure, of course. No, I mean, it's not that people can't write certain things.
Sure.
It's do they write with respect and deference to the people that have lived that experience.
Sure.
And, if he was actually like talking to somebody, for her input about the story he's writing, then that kudos to him.
Yeah, no. And I think we'll talk about it in the end, but let's get into our recap of issue 3 here first. So just in case you weren't paying attention, this is a story of a serial rapist that is following a woman that obviously has trauma in her past, and he has raped and killed many other people. But this story opens with the adorable jumping slug in the Outback that is kind of stupid and doesn't know how to land and dies. And then there's also crabbits, which are rabbits with crab hands, and their natural enemy is the Iz. It's like Keith takes
the food chain of Pangea.
It is, but Keith he's taking a break from his super dark, gritty, emotionally upsetting, traumatic story for this weird, almost like Disney cartoon version of what goes on in the Outback. And it's so unbalancing, and he does it a lot. And it's just his style. Like, he loves this weird cartoon stuff, but I think he's also massively influenced by the hard edge 90s stuff that McFarlane was doing at the time. This does feel very Spawn.
The opening or
no, not the opening. I'm just like the
Maxx
theme of the Maxx, like the way, like.
Well, sure. I mean, like the style of the crazy exaggerated artwork and yeah.
So the Maxx pops out of the Outback and he's back in the streets, and there's all these narration, boxes about how his head is pounding and everybody's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. And it should be noted that the Maxx, I cannot stress enough, this is not just like a homeless guy walking around. This is a weird purple superhero with giant,
he's not wearing, like in the previous
hands.
issue or 2 issues ago, we see him wearing a trench coat and a hat.
But
he's just walking around as the Maxx.
He's about as well disguised as the Thing in a trench coat and hat when he's wearing it. Even with that, it's ridiculous.
But we do see some people reacting to him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's a huge dude, and they're all looking around.
The gawkers glare at me. So
he's also narrating out loud.
Yeah, right, exactly. But he's chasing one of the Iz, who's still dressed like a granny. And so they're staring at the Maxx because it looks like he's chasing a 96-year-old grandmother.
Yeah. And then we flash back. All of a sudden, he gets ripped out of that, where he's chasing this thing to try and get to Julie. And we see the chung, chung, chung words, and they're literally like breaking through reality.
Like an alarm.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that calls him back and forth from the Outback.
It's almost like he got stressed to a certain point that this is how his mind is coping. It like shoved him into the Outback.
I think there is something there. I think he's signaling like that is how he ends up in this world that we will find out Julie has created through her trauma.
Because in the Pangea, in the Outback, the Maxx is not a homeless man. He is a powerful, warrior and protector.
He's like the king of the steep, right? And he protects.
Right. And so this is like a place of comfort to him.
Yeah.
But, what we don't really get too into in this arc is the fact that Mr. Gone also has access to this place.
Right. But he's aware of it. We know that. We absolutely know that. We see the Maxx chasing the same and he's running through grass fields. But the reality is he's pushing his way through crowds. He sees a blimp in the real world, but in the Outback, it looks like a giant flying whale.
Calls it an air whale.
Right. And this art is just insane. Absolutely.
This panel specifically where you see that it's fragmented and in between the shards.
Yeah.
It's New York City and it's really incredible.
It's wild. He finds this trap with this weird animal that's been speared in it, and it's sort of the bait. And he's like, I'm too dumb to fall for that. And all the Izzes come at him. And there's an incredible panel of him trying to fight off all these weird white Izzes that are biting him. The coloring is completely insane.
The spotted Susadon.
Oh yeah, the spotted Susadon.
And that's apt, I think. Like a lot of this creature design
very
stuff
Dr. Seuss.
It is very Dr. Seuss, yeah.
No question. Yeah. The Maxx gets forced into a net, and we see in reality, yes, he's actually been pushed into some type of trap. The Iz led him there. This is all part of the plan, but it's actually, he's trapped in like a public restroom and there's this dripping water and
No, this is still Pangea though.
No,
he's got the headdress.
Well, he does have the headdress, but he's definitely in a public restroom.
But look at it, Matt. It's not a public restroom. It's a restroom, but it is not like normal.
I guess you're right. It's a
real world restroom.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on that because the scene.
He's in Pangea still.
The scene in the trap, the color changes again. So I think they're saying like, yes, he's actually in a trap in the real world, and then we flash. The color changes and we see the doll, and this is important.
I think he's in it. I don't think he ever leaves Pangea in this moment.
I think you're right.
I think that he gets kind of sucked into this abyss, and then he sees the doll, which is obviously a sign of something bad, and the Maxx recognizes it as such.
Well, and it's the same
and then
doll.
When he comes out of it, he is in this weird restroom.
But this is the same doll that Julie was brushing the hair.
Julie's doll.
No question. And it says the word mommy, and that is important.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Like he's stuck in this room, like this weird restroom, and Mr. Gone shows up. He is definitely in the Outback because he's wearing this bizarre tribal mask.
Yeah.
And Gone comes right out and says it.
I use it to frighten the natives away from my harvesting operations.
Right. And the Maxx, because he's going back and forth, he doesn't even remember the fight that they just had at the gas station like that. He literally just thinks that this is another enemy in the Outback, and Gone convinces Maxx that he's telling him the truth about all this, that he knows about the Outback. He knows about Julie. He knows about you. And he even says something. He's like, I think you're afraid if you take off that mask that you're wearing, there'll be a rabbit under there. And they're like, what?
Yeah. And so Mr. Gone rather, don't worry, it's only me, Mr. Gone, man of two worlds, master of disguise.
Right.
Give this to Julie when you see her. After my encounter with her on the 5th zone, we don't learn what that is.
Yeah.
I may not have a head to go back to. So what we are hearing here, what he's implying here, is that in the real world or the 5th zone, Julie really does kill him.
Yeah. I mean, well, we don't know. He's saying
we definitely know that because she says as much later.
Oh, I guess that's true. She does
in this issue,
but he doesn't know. So he left that body or whatever just as she was about to do whatever.
He seems unfazed.
Yeah, and he's talking to the Maxx, and he's saying all kinds of stuff like, You're going to remember this. You're a lot stronger on this side. I'm sure you remember this. You know, like, you shouldn't be having any trouble with this. And he says something to the effect of like, I know who you are. I know who's under that mask. You don't remember who you were before you found the mask.
You're no superhero. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's something going on there where he is implying, hey, you've got some trauma too that you are definitely blocking out. And this whole superhero thing, this is bullshit. This is you trying to make up for something that you did.
And then he says the word mommy to the Maxx.
And he's like, I'll prove it to you. And he says the word mommy. And that blows Max's mind.
So at this point, I'm starting to think that maybe the Maxx is not real.
Well,
maybe the Maxx is a manifestation of something that Julie has gone through.
Let's talk about that in a second.
I'm not saying that he doesn't like exist in the world. I'm saying I don't know if the Maxx is actually. I don't know if the Maxx is his own being.
Well,
if that makes sense.
After all of this, there's several possibilities of what's happening. But we pop back to the real world, right? And the Maxx is.
Oh, right. It does say, I know who you were before you found the mask lying in the mud.
So I think he is definitely a real person.
The Maxx.
He was someone, and he's someone that is trying to make up for something that he did that he won't let himself remember.
So Mr. Gone says, and I think that this is important, the truth about you is only embarrassing.
Right.
But Julie's truth could destroy her.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on with Julie and the doll and the mommy, like that has nothing really to do with the Maxx and what he was before this. And Mr. Gone is like, yo, you're not as important. Julie's reality could kill her.
Yeah. And this Julie and the Queen of the Leopard women are one. Yep, man, it's going to be a long night. And then he says to him, this primitive plane you think is Australia and I call Pangea is all that is real. The other world is a dream where we are trapped playing out our deepest fantasies. Which means,
I mean, hell of a concept to end on for Joe Patrick.
Well, yes, but we flash back to the real world, and the Maxx is saving Julie from the apartment. He followed the to Gone's apartment. He saves her. They have this moment where he is starting to put it together, and they're sitting on top of the roof, I assume. They didn't run far. They just got on the roof.
They're on the roof, yeah. But this is narration from Mr. Gone as the Maxx is escaping.
Yeah.
He says, when Julie Winters was hurt, never mind how, she created a fantasy world for herself, a place where she would have
This
control.
is the Maxx talking. This is not Mr. Gone.
No, look at the letters, though.
This is the Maxx talking. The color is changed. And he even says, at least that's what the villain told me. But can you believe a villain?
Here's where it gets confusing. The horizontal panels from the Bulldog, where it says, when Julie Winters was hurt, and it's in quotes, all the way to the right, where it is the quotes end, that's Mr. Gone, and then it shifts to the Maxx.
But those are his words.
So the Maxx is reciting what Mr. Gone has said.
Those are his words in his head. This is him putting it together. But then he says
that Julie created the Outback.
Right.
Or created this version of New York, whatever the hell.
Well, yes and no. But we know they are sitting at the end. She's trimming her toenails because we got to get another foot shot in here. And complete with the scene of her biting one of her toenails. We're just like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. Don't need that. And we literally, the next panel, we see the Chung in all blue, and there's like a floating doorway that is seeing them in New York that looks into the Outback where the hut is, where the damaged version of herself with the doll is. And there
we see where she is imprisoned. Yeah.
Right. And she's peeking through and she's saying, I was robbed. I was raped. Nobody loved me. Time out. Everybody's got to take responsibility for their own life, you know? And she's admitting, I built this place. Like this mind
but
palace.
not only that, but it not only like figuratively with the Outback, but literally in that she created a fake career for herself as a quote unquote freelance social worker. That's not a thing.
Right.
Where she can use a position of authority to like tell victims to buck up
Yeah.
and pull, like, because that's how she's dealing with this. Is just like, everyone's a victim. I'm a victim. So what?
Well,
You know, it's like,
right.
that's not the right response to trauma.
But she also created this mind palace to protect
Right.
the
She's done both.
the
She's
architectural
created the literal
student.
and the
Yeah.
and the metaphorical.
because she was an architectural student that was robbed and beaten to near death.
and raped.
Raped and beaten to near death. And when she got out of the hospital, she decided to do this social work thing. But while in the hospital, she created this place that she can go to protect her victimhood. For some reason, the Maxx and Mr. Gone can also access this place. And I can only, later we learn some things, but it all has to do with trauma. Like,
Yeah.
trauma attracts people to this
Right.
place. The problem is, we don't know from what Mr. Gone is saying, is he crazy? And this is how he sees it in his head because of his own trauma that's driven him nuts. The only thing that is real is the Outback, and this other place where I do these horrible things doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. It's a dark fantasy, and that's how I protect myself from the fact that I am an evil,
right
crazy
now, dude,
person.
I have no idea. But I think the idea, Julie has created a way to treat victims like she wants to treat herself, which
Right.
is be stronger.
Yeah, just knock it
Stop
off.
being a victim.
Don't cry about it. Knock it off.
Right. Improve your life, you know, but like that's not healthy. None of it is healthy.
But I also think, and the story here, what we're developing is, it's so unhealthy that she has drawn these nightmares into her mind palace. You know,
and it's affecting the lives of other people.
right. They're completely, they end up attracted to you. If you are completely traumatized and at your lowest, there is a chance that you can stumble into the Outback.
I mean, that's a very famous saying that hurt people hurt people.
Sure. But like, not just that, there's this whole other plane, like a Twilight Zone, that you can end up in.
And this is that idea in a very literal, like sci-fi supernatural way. It's like, hurt people might accidentally suck you into a jungle world where you're eaten by eyeless, earless rabbits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we, like the Maxx, is us in the story, the reader. We have been thrust into this. We have no idea what's going on.
That seems very apt because that's how I felt when I finished this issue.
Yeah. And there's a secret behind this character as well that will slowly develop. And it will become this question of, well, wait a minute. Who is sane? If we're all damaged, if we're all dealing with trauma, who is sane? What is the real world? What is the trauma that's the only thing that is real?
Is our trauma all that we are?
Exactly. This is the question that Sam Kieth is posing in the Maxx. And I would argue it is right here in these first 3 issues. There's no question.
The thing that, so right, we're getting into our like analysis now, outside of the recaps, but the thing that I loved the most reading these 3 issues, the darker image thing is fun, but you know, it's whatever. You don't really get too deep into it. The thing that I loved the most about reading these 3 issues, and I also read the 4th issue, is that there aren't really any easy answers.
No.
It's just an examination.
Right.
And there's broken people of all sorts, manifesting that brokenness in various ways. Mr. Gone is a violent criminal. Julie dresses in outrageous ways. She treats her clients in a kind of cavalier manner. The Maxx fucking beats up monsters.
Yeah, he's a violent homeless person that thinks he's saving the world.
And so it's like, look, everybody in this story is broken.
Yeah.
And we are just we just barely touched the tip of the iceberg to see how they are dealing with that.
Yeah, and how broken they actually are.
And there are 33 more issues of this, and
I think it's easy to get tied up in Sam Kieth was such an amazing artist. Sam Kieth was just, his style was so incredible.
it's also easy to say, oh, but look at how he's treating the women. But
Sure.
he's saying something.
But the other side of that I was going to say is like, this dude was a storyteller. Like this
It's easy to
dude-
get caught up in the trappings of it.
This dude has an amazing story that he is setting up here. And it is
This is a
just
work of.
mind-bending and twisting as his bizarre fucking art.
I mean, so I've always kind of appreciated Sam Kieth from a distance. Like I love his pinups. I've read a lot of his Marvel stuff. I've obviously read Sandman,
Love Sam Kieth.
but I've always kind of kept it at arm's length. Like some of his other like later works, like Gone Girl and some of the Batman minis that he did, like I was just like, man, I don't know. It's just too weird. But now that I've read this, the first 3 issues, and I know that it's early going, and will I read more of it? I like to think that I will, because I appreciated it that much. But I have a new appreciation for Sam Kieth as a capital A artist, not just a guy that draws, but
For sure.
like an artist, a creator, like you say, a storyteller. Like there's obviously more here than you would ever know just by like glancing through
Oh,
it.
yeah. I mean, like, look, go read the first 3 issues of Spawn. Go read those.
Surface level.
It is nonsensical surface level violence for the sake of violence stupidity.
Yes,
Right?
it's the most basic good versus evil.
And
Yeah.
I think that it was really easy to tie books like this in with that and just assume, oh, it's just more garbage. And look at all the boobs.
because
and
of the
butts.
style, right? Because
Right.
of the outrageousness
Because of
of
the
it. Like it's
style.
like, ooh, yeah, look at this. These ain't your daddy's comics.
Right. It's so easy to dismiss, but there is a lot going on here. And this is an incredible
but also like
series.
look at Shadowhawk, right? We make jokes about Shadowhawk, but Shadowhawk dealt with the AIDS epidemic in 1991.
in a weird
I'm
way, but it
not
did.
saying
It
it's
did.
as successful, but I'm saying like some of these guys had things to say.
Right. And like if you get so the second wave of Image where we start talking like Blood Wolf maybe out of the picture, but even
Supreme, comes out.
Supreme was
and,
like this look into like this meta look into what is superhero comics as it goes
Yeah.
on. Death Blow is another story of a deeply traumatized person that is afraid all they can do is be a killing machine because that is what they were made into, right? We start dealing with these like, yes, very dark themes, but very introspective, very looking
But like
into-
you say, it's also easy to look at a character like Deathblow and see pouches and a gun and
Sure.
face tattoos and go, I see, I get
like,
it.
oh, it's just like Cable. Okay,
But
whatever.
you don't really get it. Deathblow
No.
has layers.
No, I'm telling you, if you've never read the Maxx, don't dismiss it. Go pick up this series. It is incredible.
Fuck yeah, man. I thought that this was brilliant.
Yeah. Just amazing.
And after 3 issues, I'm ready to recognize it as a work of creative genius.
Absolutely.
Like, at a time where I'm not saying there weren't great comics or great indie comics or genius work being produced, but the era was defined by excess and
Sure.
poor storytelling and shallow storytelling and flash over substance. And this has both.
Yeah, it's masterful. It's masterful stuff. I'm wearing my Sam Kieth fandom on my sleeve here, but I'm glad
This
you
is
liked
a
it.
buy it.
I'm glad you loved it.
Let's just get it out of our system. It's a buy it.
Absolutely a buy it.
This was incredible. What an experience.
Excelsior! Oh,
That is it for THN 809, and thank goodness because I am exhausted.
It's a lot. A lot of emotional stuff.
We went through a roller coaster. We're back to reviewing new comics next week. If you need more THN in the meantime, join our Discord. You can find out more at twoheadednerd.com. And also join us at the THN Gang Hang on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central Time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe this. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching us on the YouTubes. If you dig the podcast, give us a rating there. Write something up. Write up something. It helps us to get found by other listeners. bring them into our cult and change their minds. And then we start having sex with them and taking their money.
Oh, whoop, punch out.
Oh, sorry.
Eject. Too far. THN is a listener-supported podcast, despite all the nonsense you just heard. And it wouldn't be possible without the generosity of donors like our longtime patron, Adriano Oreganello. More about him in a second. If you like what you hear every week and you want access to exclusive THN content, it's easy to support the show just like Adriano. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/2headednerd. Last week, we straight up fucking forgot to record the extra for the new comic show, so we are going to do an extra for this episode, so patrons, watch your feeds.
Before we go, this week's shout out goes to the aforementioned patron, Adriano Oreganello, and his collaborators at Pesto Comics. The reason he's got so much cash to throw us on Patreon, because our Canadian paisan has graduated to the direct market, and Pesto Comics are now available for major distribution. And I'm not talking through no piece of shit Diamond Comics. No, baby, they're in Lunar. Word to you guys. Right. If you want to check out their stuff, be sure to let your retailer know. Support independent comic presses, you guys. Pesto Comics.
Until next time, true believers, remember to pre-order your comics or your retailer might just sick his army of 96-year-old grandmas on you. This is the Two-Headed Nerd. Signing off.
But are they actually blades? That's the thing.
I don't care. They bite.
That's the thing.
They bite is the thing.